Good morning. My name is Michael, and welcome to Psych Sage. This channel is about helping men repair the fractures between their soul, their story, and their psyche. And today I want to talk to you from the topic of tell me how you were raised, and I'll tell you how you love. I'm going to say that again. Tell me how you were raised, and I'll tell you how you love. The first time that I had heard this phrase was from a book by psychotherapist, speaker, and author Esther Perel. And she asserts, as many psychologists and literature asserts, that our relationship with our primary caregivers determines our romantic relationship template. Meaning, the way that you were raised by your parents, whether your mom was emotionally available, whether she was withdrawn, the same thing with your father, whether there was abuse, whether there was manipulation, whether there was affirmation, all of these interactions with your primary caregivers gives you the template subconsciously for how you go out into the world seeking relationships with others, whether that's men, whether that's women. Your relationship template has been determined by your relationship with your primary caregivers. And that's what I want to talk to today, because it's so important to do the work of reflecting on past relationship patterns, and specifically the pain in past relationships, to understand how might my upbringing be bleeding into how I'm going about pursuing relationships, and are the relationships that I'm involved in helping me to flourish? Are they nourishing who I am? Are they allowing me to show up fully expressed, or are they causing my nervous system to be dysregulated? Am I feeling anxiety? Am I feeling depression after I'm with this person? Do I feel like I am hustling for worthiness in this relationship? Do I feel anger? Do I feel resentment? Do I feel rage? The people who we decide to be in relationship with from a psychological perspective impact our quality of life in a way that cannot be understated. So it is so important to assess. And this isn't about judgment. Judgment is about them. Assessment is about me. It's about me being able to assess the people I'm in relationship with and ultimately ask myself, is this person leading me to someone who is flourishing? Is this relationship building me up, or is this relationship tearing me down? Am I actually present in this relationship, or am I repeating a pattern that was given to me when I was younger and subconsciously implanted as operational software in how I'm going out to pursue and attract? In my case, I'm a heterosexual male. That's how I identify. So I've had to really reflect on the pain in certain relationships, places in my relationship where I just felt unseen, or places where I felt manipulated, or places where I felt that my intimacy with this individual had been weaponized. And after seeing it over and over in relationships, I had to ask myself, well, why do I keep getting into relationships with these same types of outcomes? And as I began looking and reflecting on my own relationship with my primary caregivers, there were themes that came up. Being an oldest child, having young parents who expected me as the oldest child to overfunction emotionally, having parents who were navigating their own mental health issues like anxiety and depression, and even issues that may be diagnosed, which allowed their moods to shift from different poles, which as a child, I perceived as I have to be hyper emotionally tuned in order to keep the peace. And I think it's important to note, as children, we don't know the difference between cause and effect. And so, because we don't know the difference as children between cause and effect, now I want you to catch this, because this is how a lot of underlying beliefs are formed in childhood. Because we don't know the difference between cause and effect, what happens is that when a parent is withdrawing, because as a child, we may not be able to see, for example, that they may be dealing with an issue happening in the background with their own self-esteem, with their own self-worth. Maybe something happening medically in their body that is preventing them from showing up fully and being emotionally present. Well, we take that action because we don't know the difference between cause and effect. We internalize the belief that it must be something that I'm not doing. So as a child, if I show up more, if I attune more emotionally, if I perform more to keep the peace, or if I am silent when really I want to say something, then perhaps I can fix the issue that's happening, when in reality it was never your issue to fix. But unchecked, these beliefs, and there's so many of them that we develop in childhood from interactions that we have with our parents, unchecked, these beliefs become the template for how we move through the world. Tell me how you were raised and I'll tell you how you love. These templates become the markers that if we don't make our relationship patterns from childhood overt, which is to say, if we don't reflect on the relationships that we had with our parents and the beliefs that we took from those relationships by thinking about the interactions, and even thinking about interactions now that we have with our parents, then we could be going out in life in this perpetual loop, repeating the same patterns, almost as if we're in this prison, not being able to reconcile, why aren't relationships working? Why don't I feel a sense of satisfaction in this relationship? How did I get myself in the same position where I was left emotionally exposed, physically hurt? I mean, there are real severe impacts to not understanding what and who we are psychologically attracting to us in relationship. There are real consequences that lead to us operating from a place of doing relationship by default rather than doing relationship by design. There's all sorts of ways in which, as men, we leave ourselves open and exposed to demonic shit, or caught in spaces with individuals where, if we were to step back and look at ourselves as if we were someone else and have a conversation with ourselves about what we're experiencing, we'd even tell ourselves, you shouldn't be in that situation or that space with that individual. And so one thing that I want to touch on that I've learned from my own personal psychotherapy is sometimes what feels safe is not always what feels safe is not always what's good for us. As in, the nuance is recognizing that it may feel safe because it's a pattern that we are connecting to, rather than this relationship actually producing health and wellness in my life. So just because it's safe doesn't mean it's good. And just because it's familiar doesn't mean that it is good. And when I say good, meaning human flourishing, health and wellness, meaning building you up instead of tearing you down, meaning that you leave this relationship knowing that you were able to give and that other person was able to give to you, that there was reciprocity, even if the relationship ends. And so in videos moving forward, I'm going to do more to talk about certain archetypes of different women, different wounds, core wounds that are activated in these relationships. And when I talk about core wounds, I talk about beliefs that are subconscious, that came from our parents and our primary caregivers, and what happens when we get in certain relationships where the psychology of that other individual activates that core wound. And so we go into maybe hustling for worthiness. We go into over explaining. We go into working for love as men. We go into acting in ways that betray our self-worth, our sense of autonomy, agency, and ultimately violate our boundaries. So I want to talk about that more. Tell me how you were raised, and I'll tell you how you love. Sometimes what feels safe isn't what's good. Sometimes what feels familiar isn't what's good. We are the sum total of our relationships. Our relationships impact so many areas of life in numerous ways and are connected to our health. So it's worth doing the work of understanding what our relational templates are so that we can begin attracting the types of partners, the types of lovers, the types of husbands, the types of wives, the types of relationships that truly, truly, truly nourish us and allow us to grow and evolve and to bloom and to show up fully expressed. That is what I want to leave you with today. Thank you so much for coming to this channel. If something that I said resonates with you, please leave a comment in the comment section. I plan on making more videos like this in order to really explore the nuances of relationships in an effort to, again, heal the gap between your psyche, your story, and your spirit. So again, if you like this, if something resonated with you that I said, please leave a comment in below. Thank you so much.